I struggled with my conscience as I stood in the darkness, their living room light spilling out onto the grass, generating long shadows that seemed to match my conflict. I worried my heartbeat would be heard and betray me. The rational half of me told me to leave and never talk about what I saw. However, the ethical part that couldn't ignore wrongdoing demanded action. What was I seeing? Was it truly mutual or something uncomfortable hidden beneath the surface? I was haunted by immorality and uncertainty. I retreated, my feet feeling like lead and my thoughts racing with options. I had to find out more and make sure what I saw wasn't the tip of a darker iceberg before leaving. I took a deep breath and proceeded to the side of the house where I knew there was another window less visible from inside. Now the night seemed disturbingly calm, like nature was waiting for my next move. I viewed this new angle carefully. The scene remained unchanged, as frightening as previously. Now I could see the wife's face. Her expression hinted at something more complex, perhaps acceptance or detachment, but far from distress. This information didn't calm me but complicated the story. Was this their secret, a consenting boundary, exploration, or something more sinister disguised behind normalcy? The figures were lighted only by the phone screen in the dim room. Unaware of the gravity of the situation, the dog moved about, unaware, a symbol of innocence amidst a tangled human situation. I felt uneasy, not just because of what I witnessed, but because I had seen something intensely private in someone's profoundly personal, possibly wrong life. As I struggled with my next move, the husband stared through the window as if he could sense me. I hid, heart in my throat, feeling like a child caught doing something wrong. What if he saw me? How would that affect me and them? I feared conflict. I crept below the window, listening for signs of discovery. Only the gentle murmur of their whispered voices shattered the silence. Were they talking or aware of an outsider's view of their private lives? I felt terrible solitude and loneliness in that moment, because I knew something I could never unknow, something that could transform how I saw people, maybe even myself. I couldn't stay in fear and indecision. I had to decide whether to face what I saw in the light or hide in the shadows with this load. Each decision has consequences, making the choice excruciating. As I stood up, my decision made, I understood that no matter what I did, I would never be Alice again. My curiosity had led me to seek enlightenment, but now it had trapped me in a moral conundrum that could plague me forever. After one more glimpse through the window, the husband put down his phone, possibly ending their session. Now or never. My determination strengthened as I left the house, knowing that my future steps would shape my morals, privacy, and human nature. The night seemed colder, the shadows thicker, and my finding heavier than the pocketbook I had returned for as I left. What was to come would test my courage, ethics, and self-worth, remembering the moment vividly. In the hauntingly calm night, each cobblestone footfall felt like a heartbeat. My view was obscured by long shadows from the moon, a small sliver in the sky. They seemed to know my secret. Questions ran through my head as I left the house. Was this invasion of privacy okay? Each ethical decision exacerbated my moral dilemma. But the story was like a siren's call luring me in. I followed my feet to a modest cafe, a late-night hangout where people go to escape or explore solitude. I ordered coffee at the bar to stay alert as sleep was far away. The older barista with scarred eyes looked at me knowingly as he slid the cup toward me. "Harsh night?" he inquired, his voice harsh, like the espresso he was grinding. "You could say that," I whispered, not wanting to share but feeling ready to confess. A couple in the corner and a lone man at the far end, his face buried in a book, may have been seeking an escape like mine. Their stories, secrets, and moral issues intrigued me. I faced a decision that could ruin my life. My coffee was harsh, a contrast to my sweet ignorance. I remembered the couple through the window, the husband's tired eyes, the wife's calm wrath. What if I told them what I knew? Did I have a right to interfere? But what obligation did I have after discovering such a deep secret? As I looked outside, the neon sign flickered dimly in the darkness. In the cafe's silence, I understood I was deciding there in my fate. Should I return and knock on their door and confess what I knew, I may start a fire that would consume us all. I would carry the secret for life if I kept quiet. The decision has lasting impacts on my mind, relationships, and soul. I imagine being the hero, revealing the truth, or the evil breaking apart a family for a moment of justice. Who am I to play God with their lives? While I thought, the lone reader at the end finished his book, looked up, and we met. Unspoken recognition of our burdens occurred briefly. His story weighed on him as he stood, left a few coins on the table, and departed. Back to my chilly coffee, echoing my heart's sighs. Was my truth intended to be buried? Was retreating wise or cowardly? Questions swirled like steam from my cup, vanishing into the air, leaving options stark. Before making a decision, I had to examine my morality. I stood for what I believed in, what I recognized that this wasn't about the marriage, but about who I was and wanted to be in life's complicated tapestry. barista said, "You forgot something, miss." As I left, I returned to find my purse on the counter. I lifted it with a wry smile, its weight symbolizing my secret. I left into the cold night, still undecided, but with a clearer picture of my dilemma. What would I do? The next several stages would reveal my narrative and how I ended someone else's. I kept replaying the cafe scene as I strolled along the darkly lighted street. The couple's laughter, their secrets, inadvertent revelation, and my decision felt like a script I was writing and acting in. I heard my footsteps echoing through the deserted streets, a reminder of our decisions. I reached the deserted intersection where I had seen them before, lit by a street lamp. Suffocating silence exacerbated internal agony. Was intervening justified or a violation of the unwritten social compact that we mind our own business? Doubt halted my steps. I was chilled to the bone by the wind, but my heart was colder. What if I could transform their lives? My mind was roiled by the question. I saw memories of my past, of secrets kept and lives changed by silent choices. Was I about to repeat or break history? Disclosing what I know seemed like entering a minefield of emotions and repercussions. The street lamp flickered, throwing dancing shadows that mocked my indecision. What would my confession accomplish? Will it end or cause further chaos? I lost track of right and wrong like the shadows before me. A talk with my father echoed like a mantra. Speaking truth is sometimes the bravest deed. Was this my truth, or was I manipulating others' fates? My heart beat rhythmically, pushing me forward, yet my legs felt like lead. The astonishment, betrayal, or relief on their faces was imagined. Could I handle the consequences? Was I ready to spark a revelation that may shatter their world? A car drove by, its headlights sweeping over me as I stood there pondering my choice. In that brief glow, I saw the road ahead, and my reflection in the window, a determined but uneasy face. What if they never knew? What if I left, leaving their lives undisturbed and their secrets anonymous? The idea appealed, giving simplicity. But could I tolerate that silence? Deep breaths of frigid air chilled me to the core. Is it cowardly or wisdom to hide in the unknown? I had several ethical arguments, each fighting for supremacy. Then a choice emerged. It wasn't about right or wrong, but what was real to me and matched with my ideal self. With fresh clarity, I went into revelation, not silence. I knew I had to speak not for glory or relief, but because the truth was irreversible and I could not unknow it. As I approached their residence, my heart felt lighter, yet the gravity was evident. What would they say? How would they react? I wondered what might happen, but for the first time I felt ready. Each step removed doubt and helped me embrace my role. The street was peaceful, the night was still. But within me a storm was rising, ready to unleash the truth. As I approached their door, the weight of the moment was not just my secret, but my change from observer to participant, from silence to voice. I saw the door, a simple barrier between silence and confession. Find what on the other side. I'd lifted my hand to knock, leaving the question hanging like a cliffhanger in my life. She stood with a confused and worried face when the door opened. I had envisioned this moment many times, but it was more poignant in reality. Her usually bright eyes were now clouded by unspoken words. "What's your reason for coming now?" Her voice sounded worried and curious. I breathed deeply, anticipating. I whispered, "Jessica, I need to tell you something." The words weighed like stones in my throat, each with consequences. She retreated, inviting me into the comfort of her home and possibly her understanding. As with my secrets, the living room was softly lighted and produced long shadows. We sat, our stillness filled with unspoken things. I started again, looking for preparedness in Jessica's eyes. What I'll say will change everything. Her face hardened, a mask appearing. "Alter everything," she repeated, her voice steady but tense. The truth was pressing against my lips, wanting to be released. Over the past year, I saw and heard things I shouldn't. Jessica seemed calm, but her eyes showed otherwise. They revealed an internal storm. What did she think I simply guessed? "Dear Jessica Thomas, your husband, he's not what you expect. He was involved in something deeply questionable and reckless." The chilly, biting comments broke the fragile quiet. As the gravity of my revelations hit the room, appeared to close in. After clasping her hands in her lap, Jessica forcefully gripped her dress. "Will, that's impossible." She protested that Thomas is a good man, but her voice was weak. I pulled out my carefully collected images, recordings, and evidence from my pocket. Would she trust me or reject me? My pulse raced as I handed them over. "There's proof, Jessica. View it or it's not wanting." Sometimes quiet moments give us the courage to face difficult truths. Please subscribe, like, and comment if you like this article. It helps us write more thrilling stories for you.